Meeting to order. I'd like to welcome all of you to the City of Massillon City Council meeting for Monday, July 7th, 2001. We're to number 6 on the agenda, introduction of ordinances and resolutions. Yes, Mr. Joe.
I'm assuming this is the right point in the meeting to do this, but I would like the council to reconsider. I move that we reconsider ordinance 84-2014 that we passed on June 16th.
Do we have a second for that motion? Second by Mrs. Cunningham. Bitterly. Clerk, please take the roll call for reconsideration.
Chauvin?
Yes.
Cunningham Hatterley?
Yes.
Del Rio Keller?
Yes.
Halter?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Manson?
Yes.
Skazza?
No.
Sterritt?
Yes.
And Stinson?
No.
7 yes, 2 no to reconsider.
Okay. Now we will reconsider that ordinance 84. That was reconsidered. Now, I believe it's just a simple majority now that it takes for action, whatever action passes or it goes down. Clerk, please take the roll.
Do you want me to read what it is?
Yes, please.
Ordinance number 84 would be section 2, and it is an ordinance making certain appropriations from the unappropriated balance of the Parking Enforcement Fund for the year ending December 31st, 2014, and declaring an emergency.
I ask that if you would please read the whole ordinance. We are reconsidering the whole ordinance. Okay, we're not reconsidering one part of this, we're reconsidering the whole ordinance, right, Mr. Chauvin? That's what you're...
That's correct. That's what Mr. Zedell just informed me. It was the procedure, even though it's section 2 that we're questioning. We are actually going to vote whether we want to approve or disapprove the entire ordinance. If we vote no and we're not approving it, at that point the Finance Committee comes up with a new ordinance that has sections 1 and section 3, but does not have section 2 in it, and that will be done at the next meeting.
I have a question. Are we reconsidering the pay or the position?
We're reconsidering that part of the ordinance.
Which is the pay?
Pay and benefits.
Benefits. So if you remove the pay and benefits, then there'll be no position.
I would assume that
You're removing, you're appropriating funds
For a position.
well for pay and a position. Was the position ever eliminated?
See, that's the question.
I believe it's always been there. It's there now, despite the fact that no one's filling it. I believe it was a resignation, strictly on memory. So if it was a resignation, the position remains there unfilled. That I can tell you. Okay.
It's now filled. You're absolutely correct. It was resigned, and this all is coming about because an appropriation was made for a hire, and it's now been filled for free.
Okay. That was after
Reed was enacted. Correct.
So, am I correct that by reconsidering section 2, we're taking the pay and benefits away from this person that's in this position?
Right. That's what it says, yes.
So, we got somebody volunteering to do the parking.
No, Sharon.
So then somebody needs to clear
No.
up.
Okay, let's you speak. Please raise your hand.
It went from a part-time position, and then they added the working in the tax department to a full-time position with full benefits.
But section 2 only affects the parking part, correct?
Not my understanding, it's working with the tax department.
That's what we have.
full-time.
That's what we have the ordinance tonight for, is for the tax part, correct? I'm trying to figure out why, if we take away the benefits and the pay, will that still be a position?
Okay, Mr. Lewis.
My understanding on this issue is, regardless of your personal opinion of the hire that is made, all this reconsidering would do would be to defund the position. It would not eliminate the position. The person would not necessarily have to be removed from that position. They could remain in that position, but then they would get paid because we're obligated to pay them because they're employed. So we would find ourselves in quite the in my opinion, quite the sticky situation of having a defunded position while still having employees. It's the same thing we could do to any position within the city, simply take away the funding. It doesn't eliminate that line. If the goal is to get rid of the position, then I would assume the appropriate route would be to go into the classification list and make an amendment to the classification list and remove the position altogether. Then that position would not exist, and then that person could not fill that position because the position is not there. Because that's just my preliminary opinion on the subject.
Mr. Joe.
Thank you. The question that came up at our last committee meeting, if you remember, was not that we don't want the parking enforcement position, but when this ordinance was put before us, the assumption was made by me and many of the rest of you that I've spoken to, that we were just doing, filling the position as it had been before, which was a part-time position. There was never a mention of giving us a full-time position, giving somebody benefits, and splitting their time 16 hours out of the work week from parking enforcement and the rest from the income tax department, and paying part of the salary and benefits from the income tax department. That's the issue right here. Is when we talked about this ordinance, the question was asked, and was, you know, is this a direct replacement for the person that we had before? Yes. You know, maybe we should have gone further and said, is this all this person's going to do? We didn't do that. So basically, we were not given the whole story when we voted on this. That's the reason that we're going to vote to reconsider it. Not that we won't come back in and still have this position sometime later. That's not my intent, to do away with the position. Lord knows we need it downtown. But I have a real problem with the way it was put in and made a full-time position with benefits. You know, like I don't even know the person that was in the income tax department that we lost. Were they full-time or were they part-time? Do we know that? If they were part-time, then we never paid benefits before. Now we're creating a position that is going to have benefits. And if they were full-time before with benefits in the income tax department, then what makes us think we can cover that position with half the person's time? So my whole thought was that this position was created to be able to create a job for somebody and give them full-time and give them benefits. And it was done that by taking two different positions and creating one out of it. That's what I object to, and that's why I wanted to reconsider Section 2 so that we can clean this whole thing up.
Okay, Bob, this work. We voted to reconsider Ordinance 84. Okay, and it passed to reconsider. Okay. Now, did Mr. Children make a motion to separate the ordinance? Let's make one part of this Sections 1, 3, 4, and 5. The other part, Section 2, and then we reconsider both parts.
Last time there were no three readings, right? It was the third verse again.
What reading was it?
Correct. It was passed in first reading.
That's not true. What's the problem with doing that now?
Can you split the administration out?
Sure.
Thank you.
Somebody from the administration, who you asked before?
The mayor.
Good evening, Council, Mr. President. You know, Mr. Chobin, we have given you all the information that you requested, and I'm offended And I put out that you would not call my office and ask any question about this position. We thought it was the right thing to do. We had someone that retired and resigned in that income tax department to put this together so that we'd have one person in there that could serve in the position for both jobs. Now, you didn't make a big deal when I hired Mr. Marcus, who's a male, white male, but you're going to make a big deal because this is a black female. No, I'm going to finish. I'm tired.
You're out of order.
I'm not out of order.
Yes, you are.
It's a black female. That's your problem with it. Shame on you. Shame on you. This is a free world.
You're finished. Are there any questions that you'd like to ask of the mayor? Let's keep it on track. Yes, Mr. Joe.
Was the income tax position a full-time or part-time?
Part-time position, 16 hours. We said that last week when you asked the question.
It was previously, correct? I mean,
Correct.
the person that left was part-time.
The person that left before that was full-time with benefits. She was ill.
Right, but then how, so, but do you understand my question though? Why, if it was a full-time position before, why do we think we can cover it with a part-time position now?
It was a part-time position. The full-time position that left before that, we filled with a part-time person.
Okay.
That had, the full-time had benefits.
No, in the
We
income
have
tax
enough
department.
money to cover that.
In the income tax department.
Absolutely. We thought it was prudent on the administration's part.
My point being though, if it was full-time before, somebody resigned and you refilled it, or you filled it with a part-time person,
Correct.
why, and the parking enforcement was a part-time thing before.
Correct.
Why do we want to create a full-time position with benefits if two part-time positions handle the job before?
Because there's a law that if you have over 30 hours, you must give benefits. New law.
Well, where would 30 hours be? I mean, the parking enforcement was 16 hours, is what we were
Parking
told.
enforcement is not 16 hours.
That's what we were told in the
No,
last
you
meeting.
were not.
we were here.
Income tax was 16. That's what you were told.
Well, how much is
24
parking
to 30
enforcement?
hours is the part-time parking enforcement. That's what you were told.
How many hours?
Once
So-
you hit 30 hours, you must give benefits.
So if somebody, so a parking enforcement officer plus, that's working in the income tax department also, what do you imagine their full hours to be?
Well, we're hoping to rotate them, so when we have the problems in the downtown area, that they're going to be able to cover those problem times, which we have significant problem times at
We
this
do.
time, because there are
We do.
employees and business owners that park in front of their businesses all day long.
My original question for the mayor was, if this,
We want to keep this under control. We already got out of control once, so go right ahead.
my original question for you when I brought you up was to ask you, if the income tax position was full-time, can it go back to being a full-time position?
Right now, Ken needs a 16-hour person,
That's all he needs.
right now.
But originally it was a full-time position.
The most recent lady that resigned was 16 hours. Prior to that, it was a full-time position, and she left on a medical.
And this is, but with this new income tax coming up, would it be prudent to have a full-time person back
And
in?
it may work into a full-time again, but we didn't want to go right out. We're still in fiscal emergency. We're trying to watch our money, and we felt it was prudent to leave it at 16 hours. So if you add 16 for income tax and 16 for parking, just 16, you're still at 32. And so we need the parking more than 16 hours.
Still.
So would it not be a cost-saving measure if we hire a part-time 16-hour person in income tax and then another part-time person in parking enforcement that works 20 to 29 hours a week, and then we do not pay either of them benefits, and we save money by not having to pay benefits at that point?
And
And we would both have part-time
You're
people.
not getting great people.
That's the point.
And the point was, if I'll go back into
But
last
both
week's.
of those positions were already part-time, and we could probably fill them with no problem because plenty of people need jobs, and the city is trying to make cost-saving
People need
measures at this point.
benefits. People need benefits. And I want to bring up the point that the conversation last Monday was not about the part-time. The issue was that because the police department, we did not offer that to the young girls in the police department. We did not do that because they make much more than $11 an hour. This position is $11 an hour and $9 an hour. The ladies in the police department make about $18 or $19 an hour. That's why we did not offer it to them.
You did not answer my question. I was asking, would it be cost-saving to the city to not pay benefits to two separate part-time employees? That is the question.
This person could take on both jobs with a master's degree, and she's also going to be able to handle the clientele that get angry when they get a ticket. So she's educated, and she is the person that we chose for the
I'm
position.
not asking about the person.
I answered your question,
I was
Mrs.
asking
Chair.
if it's a cost saving.
I answered your question.
No, you didn't. Thank you.
Mayor, I'm just curious to know, have these jobs ever been posted?
No,
or
we did not post
advertised?
them.
So they're not offered to people who live in Massillon then? You just
You
choose?
cannot discriminate, Mrs. Halter. You
Oh, I
can't
know,
just
but
hire
why
people
don't you
that live in
There's so
Massillon.
many people that live here that don't have jobs or need jobs.
We have jobs all over our city. Shears is hiring,
I'm not
Fresh
talking
Mark is
about that.
hiring.
I'm talking
There
about
are
the
jobs
in the
available.
city, by the city.
Did you have someone in
Okay,
mind?
stop
No,
the
I don't.
argument, please.
If you have someone in
Howard,
mind,
this is-
then you should give me their name. I'm
You're
speaking,
out of
you're not
line.
going to
You're out of
interrupt.
line.
No, you're out of line,
Out of
Mr.
line.
President. I'm tired of you
She had
interrupting
the
me.
floor.
I'm answering the
You're out of
question.
line.
You're out of line.
Giselle,
No, you're not, I'm
would you please
answering the
step into
question.
this?
This is
This
Walter.
is
If
a
you have
council
someone, you're broken. If you have
Yes.
someone in mind, please let me know.
I do not. I'm talking about the citizens of Massillon. That's who I have in mind. Thank you.
Well, you did ask me for a
Finished.
job for your son.
Oh. I don't want.
I mean, is
Let's
that what
stop
it's
the
about?
personal stuff. Get back on the issue.
I'll be happy to entertain a
Mr.
prudent
Chauvin,
employee.
make
You need
your
to let me know who
decision
they are.
on what you want to do. Mayor, you're finished.
Thank you. In light of Mr. Zadell's comments, then I propose to divide the question and reconsider section 2 separately from the rest of the ordinance.
And you would reconsider sections 1, 3, 4, and 5 together.
Correct.
Because we already
That is correct.